Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel if you are new. Hello, my name is V. I post nail tutorials every Thursday and Sunday at 8:15 a.m. Central Time. Getting right into today's video, I did pre-apply my tips to my practice hand, and I am just slightly filing the sides, making sure that the sides are flush to the natural nail. You don't want that nail tip to extend past the natural nail. So I'm just making sure that it is all uniform, and then I'm just slightly filing the tips as well, as I don't want it to affect my work later. I am using my acrylic brush from Not Polish. It is a size 12, along with my Profiles Backstage monomer for today's video. Now, getting into the acrylic application, I am using Velvet Teddy from Not Polish. It is a really pretty nude color. I like to try all of my nudes for you guys so you guys can kind of get a feel for them and see which ones you guys prefer. When it comes to nudes, there are endless colors, different shades. There's more pink ones, peach ones, more orangey ones, more red ones, all kinds of shades of nude. So it is important that you do get a ton of them, because there's never really one acrylic that goes with every single skin tone, and it is important that we match it well with the client's skin tone, or it can look a little bit funny. So I'm just using that for today's video, and I'm going to be applying it as I usually do. I did not speed up today's video. I did a very simple set, which means the video took me a lot less to record. So I took a very large bead of acrylic and applied that first, and then I'm just layering them over top, getting closer to the cuticle as I go. I always like to start at the tip. For whatever reason, it's just my comfort zone. It's easier for me. Now moving on to the ring finger, I'm going to thoroughly explain my acrylic application for the rest of the nails. So I'm taking a large bead of acrylic and applying that in the middle section. I like to lightly blend it up towards the cuticle area, and then I start dragging it down. So it does take very minimal effort whenever you are using really good product. Like I mentioned, I am using the Not Polish acrylic powder. They blend so well. So all I'm doing is tapping it with very light pressure and slightly dragging it down towards the tip. I don't know if you guys caught it on the pinky, but really all I did was kind of clean up the sides as I went down to the tip, and it leveled itself out for the most part. So I'm doing very minimal padding, very minimal shaping with that acrylic, because like I said, it does blend very well. Now that I'm done with that bead, I am going with a medium-sized bead and just going right into the cuticle area and gently pushing it into the cuticle. Make sure you're holding the finger in a downward position, and then I'm going to start cleaning up the sides and dragging it down, blending it into that other bead of acrylic. You can absolutely build up the apex as much as you want. I will do an in-depth video on that, but because this is a practice hand, it doesn't really make sense for me to kind of include that in every single one of my videos, so I do kind of do them on the thinner side. So I'm just making sure that everything is nice and blended together. I try to lay my acrylic as perfect as possible. I try to not have ridges or really crazy bumps in it, because this saves me time at the end when I'm filing, and I'll show that at the end as well, and you guys can see the difference from the application to me filing it. It's very, very minimal. So now moving on to the middle finger, I am again placing a very large bead of acrylic into that middle section, basically where the tip meets the natural nail, and then I am dragging it lightly down. A lot of the time, if you're holding your finger in a downward position, it's going to do it all on its own. So all I'm doing is guiding that acrylic down to the tip. And that's essentially what you want to do. And like I said, with really good products, you will need little to no effort when creating an acrylic extension. And then I just clean up the sides as I need to. It's really easy to clean up the sides as long as you hold your brush against that plastic tip, you won't have any issues with it. Just make sure you're using very light pressure on your brush. The more pressure you apply to it, the more acrylic you're going to drag down, and the harsher the bumps are going to be, if that kind of makes sense. Now, I did not encapsulate this set because it is nude acrylic. Typically, I encapsulate my colored acrylics not only to save a little bit of money on product, but because you also need that extra strength, and you add that extra strength by encapsulating with clear powder. The nude acrylic will hold well on its own as is. So I'm just going in and filing the nails. As you can see, they're pretty smooth. So I'm just taking my hand file and filing the sides of the nail. I do this typically on all of my nails just to make sure that the shape is perfect from the get-go. And then I'm going over the entire surface of the nail with my hand file. You can also use your e-file, but whenever I specifically focus on laying my acrylic as smooth as possible, I like to use my hand file because it is very minimal filing that I need to do. So I'm just going in again on the sides, making sure that I am filing it into perfection. I do have a really in-depth video on exactly how I shape my nails, especially doing it all the way from scratch. I do 5 different shapes. So if you guys are interested, make sure you guys go check that out. So again, I'm just going over the entire surface, and for a long nail specifically, I like to file vertically up and down with my hand file, just because I feel like you get the most perfect transition from the cuticle area down to the tip. It's a lot more consistent versus if I file horizontally. The pressure, I feel like, ends up being different in different areas, which causes inconsistency in the smoothness of the nail. Now, one thing I do specifically like to do with the e-file is file the cuticle area. I am using my 5-in-1 bit from Kiara Sky. Love it, and I talk about it in all my videos. Definitely recommend it because it has that skinnier tip that you need to get into those hard to reach areas like the cuticle area. So like I said, I filed everything with my hand file, and then that cuticle area I do go in with this bit. Now I'm flipping the hand over to look at the nails from the client's perspective. Always do this to make sure that I see every defect that the client might see that I didn't previously see. And then I'm just filing it, and I'm holding the finger very well so that the nail doesn't wiggle back and forth, because that can be uncomfortable for the client. Now I'm going in with my sponge buffer from Profiles Backstage and just buffing the nails, making sure everything is nice and smooth in preparation for my nail art. So I did want to speak a little bit about times, because I know you guys are curious, because this was such a simple set and I am working with really good products. I want to say that it took me about 10 to 15 minutes to lay the actual acrylic, and then 5 minutes specifically just to file everything into shape, including my buffing process. I did make sure I timed that just so I had my numbers down correctly. So the time on this video is pretty precise. I edited out about 5 to 7 minutes of footage, and that was just me trying to gather myself and think of what I was doing and staring at the nails in between certain spots. So I am just cleaning the nail now with my lint-free wipe and some swipe, making sure that I'm cleaning all the dust off and everything is perfect for the nail art. So I have mentioned before how I like to take trends and make them my own. I love, getting on that trend, but I also want to be as unique as possible. So for today's video, I have been seeing a trend go around for Halloween where it is French tip nails, and on the white part they add the blood drips. So I really liked the idea. I did think it was super cute, but I wanted to do something a little bit different. And so I did decide to just do random spots of white and then do the blood drip on that area. If you guys do not recall my cow print nails, this kind of reminded me of that. And I'm okay with that because you guys did show a lot of love on those nails. If you have not checked it out, I'll link it in this video so you can check it out as well. But I did something similar where I just randomly placed white and then I did the cow print on top. So that's essentially what I'm doing. So I'm starting off by just randomly drawing a squiggle line and then taking a thicker brush just to make the process a little bit quicker, and applying the white gel paint all over the rest of the nail that I want covered with white. And then I'm going to be doing another spot on the ring finger. And like I said, I'm taking my liner brush. This one is from Profiles Backstage. Always will link the products in the description box. And so I am drawing a random squiggly line in no specific way. I'm just randomly drawing it on there. And then I'm going to be drawing another one in the same kind of sense, just a little bit lower, and then I'm going to be filling in the rest of that with white again, using my thicker brush, which is the 3D nail art brush from Amazon that I use for my 3D nail art. Now you want to make sure you do cure this in the UV LED light. If you are using gel paint, make sure you cure it before you go on to the next step. So I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out, so I did 2 nails and then I went from there. I did like the turnout. So I'm showing you here how I'm mixing my blood red, and I'm just taking red gel paint. You can use gel polish if you have it, or whatever you want, and then I'm adding just a little bit of black to it, mixing it up using my liner brush on the back of a little nail art wheel or whatever you have, and I'm just mixing it thoroughly together, making sure that I have the darkness that I want. Typically blood is a darker color. And so now I am taking Gloss It from Not Polish and doing a few drops of that into that mixture as well. The reason why I'm doing this is because blood is more of a see-through red, and I kind of wanted to mimic that as best as possible. So I figured if I thin it out using clear, it would give a nicer effect. So I did add maybe 2 to 3 drops of that into it. I kind of mixed it until I was happy with the consistency, and then I kind of swatched it a little bit to see how it looked, and I did really like it. So I ended up sticking with that, and now I'm just going along that edge of the white that I drew, and then I'm going to start drawing my drips. This was such an easy consistency to work with because you don't have to be super precise because it is blood drips. So it helped a lot that I did thin it out with that clear, and I'm just kind of randomly drawing it on there, making sure that I have it where I want it. I'm really happy with how this color turned out, so try it out for yourself if you are wanting to do blood nail art. So the good thing about splatter and drip nails is that you don't have to be really precise. Even if you do mess up, it looks like it goes with the design. So that's always a plus, especially if you are not comfortable with doing nail art. These type of designs definitely are a go-to. So I'm just doing random little blobs, dragging some up, doing some down. I kind of just take it as I'm going and really hope for the best. I kind of say that in a lot of my videos. I try to envision something and then I try creating it. So for my ring finger, I was like, I want to do splatter, and I'm not blowing in no straw for this. So I grabbed my brush, dipped it in the blood, and just started more or less acting like I was twitching. I grabbed my brush and started wiggling my hand kind of uncontrollably, and my husband was like, that looks really good. So shout out to him for approving this design. But definitely recommend you guys just randomly wiggle your hand all over the nail. Release the pressure in some areas and you're gonna get thinner lines on there. So I thought it was pretty cool. I don't like the idea of blowing into a straw, so this definitely made me feel a lot better. Make sure you cure that in the light, and here I am just showing you how I clean my nail art brush. You guys ask a ton, and I just grab a lint-free wipe and I wiggle it on there. I don't have any product on it at all. I feel like this helps keep those thin brushes as new as possible without drying them out. So now I'm going to be adding more of that white onto the middle finger and the index finger, and I'll let you guys just watch this process. one suggestion I did want to give you guys is if you are wanting to recreate this set, I think it would look so bomb if you do the nude with the white matte and then go over top with the blood. It makes it a little bit more realistic. I've been getting so many requests to do shiny top coat, so I was like, okay, fine, and I did it on this set. But I really love how it looks right here where the background is matte and then the blood is shiny. So for this video, my camera did cut off mid-recording, like at this part. So I didn't get to record some of that last bit of nail art along with me top coating the nails, but I did use Not Polished Gloss It for those interested. That basically concludes today's video. Let me know what you guys think down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys next time.